Buddy, today we are all sick again. This has been a crappy winter in regards to illness, so I'm going to be making a chicken soup with a bunch of stuff that I had on hand. So this is like a pantry soup. So let's quickly go through the ingredients. This is more of like, let's say, a Middle Eastern chicken noodle soup. And the ingredients start off with chicken breast. Obviously, I'd say that this is about a pound of boneless, skinless chicken breast. We probably need about 2 whole carrots, but being that I'm working with what I have on hand, I have 1 carrot, so we're just going to go with that. We are going to be using 2 ribs of celery, 1 small yellow onion, 6 cloves of garlic, about 1 inch of fresh ginger, and we are going to grate that. For our seasonings, we're going to be using just salt and pepper, some turmeric, and then also fresh rosemary and thyme. And then we are going to need some kitchen basics, salt and pepper, avocado oil, some chicken broth, and I don't have enough chicken broth. This needs about 6 cups of liquid. So each one of these has 4 cups inside of it. So I'll be using a little bit of nor Suiza, which is like chicken bouillon, to season the other 2 cups of water that I will be adding. And then our pasta, we are going to be using Israeli couscous, which is pretty fun and different and makes for a very pretty soup. And then lastly, I like to add peas to the soup, but I'm going to be using these peas and carrots that I had in the freezer because, as I had mentioned, I am low on carrots. Wow, English. And then lastly, I got a tripod, so I'm going to see if I can chop up this stuff and then do a time lapse how they do and be fancy and whatnot. So those are our ingredients. Let me go ahead and get started. Alrighty, so first we prepped our Mirepoix. I just went ahead and peeled that single lone carrot, got rid of that stuff, removed the dead ends, and threw it in a small dice that would match the size of the veggies that we have in the frozen vegetables. Cleaned up the celery, chopped it into a small dice as well. I hate celery in big chunks. It's just a personal thing. Went ahead and peeled our onion. Get rid of the onion paper. Cannot stand the onion paper. So go ahead and do that in a small dice as well and add that to the bowl. And Mirepoix is just a fancy French word for carrots, celery, and onions as a flavor base, and they should be in equal proportions. Here we have our 6 cloves of garlic that we just quickly removed the papery outside and minced it. And then we're going to keep the garlic to the side because garlic does not cook at the same time as the rest of the veggies. No matter what certain recipes tell you, don't follow that. It's not true. And burnt garlic is very bitter and it's gross, and just don't do it. There is our inch of ginger. I just went ahead and grated it on a microplane. And next, here we are working on our fresh thyme. Fresh thyme, you just turn it upside down and you run your finger along the stem and the leaves should come off if you go in the opposite direction that they grow. But it is seriously not as easy as that. Like, the leaves don't always just come right off like they do with rosemary or with other herbs. And here we go with the rosemary, and you'll see, like, bing, bang, boom, there we go, off the stem. And then I put all of the fresh herbs together, and I the tripod for filming this part, but it just doesn't work out with the angle. So in any case, you missed a step. I put about 2 tablespoons of avocado oil in the bottom of this pan. I have it on medium heat, and I tossed in our carrots, celery, and onions. And I'm going to let this go for a minute until the onions become translucent. And then I will add our garlic to the pot for a moment, and we'll stir fry that up. Okay, so that is nicely going. The onions are translucent, so I am going to pop in our chopped garlic, which is way harder to pick up with one hand than you would imagine. And we're going to let that go for just a second until it gets fragrant. You don't want to burn your garlic. Burnt garlic is the worst. It's nasty and it's bitter, and ain't nobody got time for that. So we're just going to stir that for a moment. And then now I am going to pop in our grated ginger and our freshly chopped herbs. So give me a second to scoop those up and get them back in the pot, and we will get on to the next step. Alrighty, so the herbs and spices are in the pot. My children are making a mess in this closet, which is not awesome. And I am going to go ahead and start adding our liquids. So our spices have woken up. It smells really good. Sorry, I got distracted. We actually do need to add a teaspoon of turmeric. So let's go ahead and get that popped in there. Don't be afraid of turmeric, people. Like, well, apparently I'm really not afraid of it because I just got it all over my stove. Gross. Alright, so we're going to put a teaspoon of turmeric in here. Move that out of the way so we don't do any more damage. And then let this saute for a moment. And then we're going to add our liquid. We've got a crier, so I'll be back in a moment. But I'm going to be adding the 4 cups of chicken broth, 2 cups of water, and then I'm going to add a teaspoon of Nor Suiza to make up for the lack of chicken flavor in the water. So give me a second to resolve these babies and I'll be back. Alright folks, I have to tidy this video up fast because this baby Olivia has decided that I have to hold her while I'm doing it. So I'm adding about a quarter or so of a teaspoon of black pepper. As I mentioned, I did add the total of 6 cups of liquid and a little bit of chicken bouillon to make up for the difference into the pot. And then I went ahead and defrosted these chicken breasts. You can actually put them in there frozen, but being that we're going to be putting the Israeli couscous in at the same time, I want to make sure the cooking time is correct. So I cranked this up, brought it to a boil, and I'm tossing in our 2 chicken breasts. And I'm carefully tossing this gross chicken juice away. And then this is 1 cup of Israeli couscous. We're going to pop that in the pan. Careful not to burn the baby's foot. And then we are going to mix this up. We're going to return it to a boil. Once it's boiling, I will cover it and reduce the heat to medium-low and then simmer it for 30 minutes. And that should give our couscous enough time to cook and our chicken enough time to also cook. And at that point, I will go ahead and remove the chicken, shred it with some forks, pop it back in, and then add the rest of our carrots and our peas. So I'm going to end this portion of the video and tend to this baby, and we'll be back in a little bit when this is ready to continue. I think I actually said 30 minutes on accident because I was stressed out, but it's actually just 15 minutes that you need to simmer the chicken and the couscous together. So as you can see, the couscous is cooked up. I'm going to go and add our last ingredient, which is, this is about a cup of peas and carrots, frozen. Those ones were stuck. Go ahead and mix that up. And then I am going to shred up these chicken breasts. They are nice and yellow because they were in the turmeric broth. So let me shred these with forks and I'll be back in a jiffy. Alright, so this is our chicken. It is shredded up. I didn't get all crazy and make sure it was like super fine. So I'm just going to re-drop this into the pot. And then I will probably let this simmer for like another 10 minutes just to let all of the flavors come together. The chicken can absorb some more of that nice herby broth, and the peas and carrots can come to temp. And then this is the finished product. I will serve this. I'll probably make some grilled cheese because my husband likes to always have something bread on the side, either grilled cheese or maybe I'll just serve it with some Toronto bread with butter, and then I'll have fresh lemons on the side to squeeze into it because that will be delish. So this was my video for turmeric chicken noodle soup with Israeli couscous. I hope you enjoyed it despite all of the chaos. Have a great night.